The time is 4 o'clock. Good afternoon and welcome to the news from around the world on T Solid Radio. I am Joy Aki Olami Goke. First, the major headlines. Federal government launches manhunt for fleeing Kogi inmates. Vote to go ahead despite Rose says Somali Prime Minister. Mozambique issues flood lot for a million people. And on the world of sports, Guardiola urges Man City players to build on winning form. Moving on to the news in details. The Minister of Interior, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, said that security forces have launched manhunt for inmates who escaped from the Kaba Medium Custodial Center in Kogi State in the early hours of today. He, however, regretted the loss of a soldier, a policeman to the attack, saying two personnel of the correctional centers are still missing. The minister said he had been briefed by the Controller General of the Nigerian Correctional Service and COS, Naliru Nambaba, on the unfortunate attack on the center by unidentified gunmen. He noted that during the attack, security officers on duty, which comprised of 15 soldiers, 10 police officers, and 10 armed guards of the NCOS on duty, fought gallantly to repel the attack. A statement signed by media assistants to the minister, Shola Fasure, said two officers of the correctional service are yet to be accounted for, while one soldier and a policeman died during the attack. The Minister of Interior, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, however, assures the citizenry that Nigeria's security forces will find the attackers and bring them to justice. He then urges the people, especially the communities around the custodial facility, to be vigilant and report any strange and suspicious persons or activities to the nearest law enforcement agency. And the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, has directed formation commanders and principal staff officers to ensure the tempo of all the operations across the country is sustained and maintained. According to him, the army under him remains determined to restore peace to the nation, adding that the commander and principal officers were central to ensuring the successes in its operations. He maintained that they must devise initiative that must enable the army to curtail insecurity at their commands, adding he would not accept excuses henceforth. Yaya said this today at the Chief of Army Staff Combined Second and Third Quarter Conference 2021 in Abuja. The conference is aimed at brainstorming and reviewing the activities of the Army within the second and third quarters of 2021. The Army Chief also revealed that he has directed special operations in Northwest and North Central to combat the insecurity bedeviling the regions. The National Council of Women's Societies has kicked against the planned legalization of cannabis sativa in Nigeria. Mrs. Laraba Shoda, the national president of the NCWS, made the statement in Abuja today as she cautioned that the weed should not be legalized for any reason. Shorter further advised that individuals who want to use for medical purposes should do so through established legal channels. The House of Representatives had earlier expressed its readiness to legalize the use of cannabis sativa in the country due to its economic benefit. Shoda has said that lots of Nigerian youth, including women, are involved in drug abuse, adding that legalizing the weed would then give them the license to do so with impunity. You're still listening to the news from around the world on T Solid Radio. Still to come is the foreign and sport news. Do remember to download our app T Solid on Play Store or log on to www.tsolid.tv. You can also follow us on our various social media platforms on our T Solid Radio TV. And moving on to the foreign scene, Somali Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Robo has said that his dispute with President Mohamed Farmajo will not affect plans for long delay election. The disputes between Mr. Robo and Mr. Farmajo, sparked by the government's handling of missing spies case, has raised fears that Somalia's electoral process could suffer further setbacks. The Horn of African Nation is scheduled to hold parliamentary elections between October 1st and November 25th. Meanwhile, on Sunday, the United Nations Deputy Chief met Mr. Robo and Mr. Farmajo and urged them to avoid any moves that could lead to violence and further delay the elections or undermine its credibility. The leaders of Somalia's southwest and Gamadug regional states have launched efforts to defuse the tensions between the president and premier. The NHS is launching the world's biggest trial of a potentially life saving blood test that can detect more than 50 types of cancer before symptoms appear. Some 140,000 volunteers in 8 areas of England will be recruited to try the Galleries test, which is already available in the United States. The test can detect cancers that are not routinely screened for, and it can find where the disease is coming from in the body with a high degree of accuracy. NHS Chief Executive Amanda Pritchard said this quick and simple blood test could mark the beginning of a revolution in cancer detection and treatment here and around the world. She added that the NHS trial will invite people from different backgrounds and ethnicities who are aged between 50 and 77 to take part. Blood samples will be taken at mobile testing clinics over the coming weeks in 12 months' time and again in 2 years. Ms. Pritchard said the test could play a major part in an NHS ambition to cut 75% of cancers at an early stage when they are easier to treat. The trial is being led by the Cancer Research United Kingdom and King's College London Cancer Prevention Trials Unit together with Grail, which develops the Gallery test. Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi, who criticized the AstraZeneca vaccine for COVID-19, has inoculations begun, has received the first dose on Sunday, and urged the nation to get jabbed too. According to reports, the presidential office has declined to say which brand of vaccine Tshisekedi had received and said that the main thing was a strong gesture of having it done. Meanwhile, officials confirmed that the arrival in the Democratic Republic of the Congo of more than 250,000 additional doses of the Moderna vaccine, several thousand small doses of Johnson& and Johnson, AstraZeneca, and Pfizer vaccine are also due in the coming weeks. The vast country of more than 80 million people had by then received 1.7 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine as part of the COVAX Global Access Initiative, but returned 1.3 million doses due to lack of demand. The Mozambican weather authorities have warned that more than 1 million people may be affected by floods in the upcoming rainy season. According to the weather authorities, the southern and central regions will receive more rainfall than normal. An official of the National Institute of Meteorology, Bernardino Mutatumbo, said that the northern provinces like Cabo Delgado and Niassa will experience below normal rainfall. He added that there was a moderate risk of flooding in hydrographic basins such as Maputo, Umbeluzi, Nkomati, and Limpopo, and in the central area they have Buzi and Zambeze. And moving on to the world of sport, Manchester City FC manager Pep Guardiola has praised the squad's commitment after bouncing back from a shaky start to the Premier League season with three successive wins. Title holder City suffered an opening day defeat at Tottenham's Hotspur, but responded with wins over Norwich City, Arsenal, and Leicester City to move up to fourth. Guardiola, who has guided City to three league titles since taking over in 2016, has said that the squad had to build on their winning form and continue to push hard in training. Man City FC, which lost to Chelsea FC in last season Championship League final, hosts RB Leipzig in their opening group stage match of Europe Elite Club competition on Wednesday. Finally, former world number one Rafael Nadal has dropped out of the top five in the ATP rankings released today, while Spanish teenager Carlos Alcaraz, seen by many to be his compatriot's successor, soared 70 places to 38. Nadal has not played since losing to Novak Djokovic in the French Open semi-finals due to a foot injury and now sits sixth in the rankings. Alcaraz shown at the US Open, where he showed he is likely to be a force to be reckoned with, becoming the youngest US Open men's quarterfinalist in 58 years. But a thigh injury brought his run to an end, and he retired from the last eight clash with Canada Felix Onga Aliassime. With that, we've come to the end of the news recap of the major headlines. Federal government launches manhunt for fleeing Kogi inmate. Votes to go ahead despite row, says Somali Prime Minister. And Mozambique issues flood alert for 1 million people. And on the world of sports, Guardiola urges Man City players to build on winning form. Ensure to go by all precautionary measures to stay safe from COVID 19, as recommended by the World Health Organization and the Nigerian Center for Disease Control. Do remember to download our app T-Solid on Play Store or log on to www.tsolid.tv. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on our T-Solid Radio TV. The news was compiled by Umibeku Buluwatife and edited by Akachi Chijioke. I am Joy Aki Olamigoke. Good afternoon and many thanks for listening.
1U, solid radio for everyone. T Solid 1U, solid radio for everyone. T Solid 1U, solid radio for everyone. T Solid.
Look, it's all bad, it's all real. I ride in, get some big tall hills, big fat checks, big large bills, run out, flip like 10 car wheels. Cold, cold. I give raw chills, 10 different looks, and my lips so kill. I kiss them in the mouth, I feel all grills. Heat in the car, that's wheels on wheels. Woo! I was born to flex, diamonds on my neck.